Hey guys, welcome to day 4 of me documenting my journey. And today I'm going to tell you guys a story on how this tattoo may be the most expensive tattoo that's ever been made. I got this tattoo last year around from the end of June to the beginning of July. We were taking a family trip in Dominican Republic. And prior to us going to Dominican Republic, I just wanted a tattoo. I had this one for close to 10 years now, and I was like, man, I want another tattoo. But I know that the US prices kind of getting out of control with tattoo artists, and I know that there's some great tattoo artists out there in Dominican Republic, and you just gotta find them, right? You just gotta do your research. So 2 months prior to my trip, I started looking at the top artists around the area that I was going to be staying. I was able to find one guy and kind of just let him, contacted him and let him know that I was coming and some of the work that I wanted to do. He sent me some pricing, and I kind of just forgot about about that whole process. So 3 days into the vacation, I spoke with my wife and I was like, man, I forgot. I want a tattoo. So um, I did the same thing again, started researching for more tattoo artists around the area. Initially, then I found the guy that I actually initially talked to again through the research, contacted him, and ended up booking a session. Now, I was in this particular area in Dominican Republic. We were going to be there for 3 weeks, and the last week that we were going to be in Dominican Republic, we kind of took a family vacation and stayed at the North Island in Sosua. So I knew that I wanted to get it done before I went to Sosua. And so we booked it for literally 4 days before I had to go to Sosua. And we started the process. It was a Saturday. I got there, no problem. The place looked super clean. The guy was super professional. Most of the work that he's been done is great with colors and black and gray. And I knew I wanted some black and gray, but I also wanted to add a little bit of colors or bright colors. And I gave him what I wanted. I got there the first day. He showed me exactly how it's gonna look. I fucking loved it, and we began working. Now, as we're working on the first day, there's a power outage, and I don't know if you guys experience power outages in the yard or even Puerto Rico. It gets hot pretty quick, especially in the middle of summer. So, you know, the power went out, and at first we kind of like bummed out because, man, like, what are we gonna do? So we knew that we had a lot of work to do for just 4 days straight. Plus, I knew it was gonna be a very painful process. So so we decided to just work through it, right? So we just worked through it and took breaks here and there during that first session because the power kept coming in, the power kept coming back, and then it kept going out. So we worked through it, but during those times where the power went out and he was working, it was tense because it was humid in there. I'm sweating, he's sweating, and and we worked through it. And the first day took 8 hours, and he did pretty much anything from the elbow to the wrist. He actually finished this whole part in one day. Then Sunday came in, and we got there, and there was no power. So we initially were like, okay, if there's no power today, we're probably not gonna get a lot done like we did yesterday. So like he started in the back, like on this design, and in the back of it, the back of the tricep, and then the power went out once, and then we just said, okay, well, let's just continue tomorrow because we didn't want to go through that whole process again and having to take breaks and do that on the second day. So he just did this part and kind of just this tricep area. So Monday he did shoulder, the shoulder piece, and then on Tuesday he finished this part right here. My hand was super swollen. It was about 30 plus hours of work in 3 days straight. My hand was super swollen, and 2 days. So 2 days after that, on that Thursday, my wife had a session scheduled with him as well. So she got her work done, and when I got there, I noticed that there were like um, some irritation on the top of the tattoo. And I asked him, and he was like, "Well, you know, it's probably due to the fact that it was a lot of hours of work, and the skin is just reacting to it. So just get some ointment, some burn, some like baby burn bottom bottom, some baby burn bottom ointment for it, and then you should be straight." I got that and added that to the treatment that he already previously gave me. I did that, and I kept putting that ointment on and treated it, cleaning it every few hours. But I kept noticing that, you know, um, the irritation kept kind of like, it kept adding little bumps here and there. So it was initially was here, and then it was like two or three on this side, nothing on the middle, and nothing on this side as well. Or so I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought it was maybe just skin healing, a lot of irritation. So came back to the States and went to see my primary doctor because it kind of got overwhelmingly like irritated. It didn't hurt, it didn't itch, I didn't get a fever, nothing. It was just irritation just popping up. Initially it was right here, and then secondly right here. And they prescribed a 3-day steroid um, prescription. After those 3 days, I didn't see no changes, and I went back to my primary. Then they prescribed me a 10-day steroid um, in the pill form, and that did something like maybe 5%, but it didn't really make no changes. And the day after that 10-day, on my way to work, before I left the house, I had put like lotion on my arm, and I don't know if it was the lotion or what, but like it turned on those irritations, and then like from the time I was in my house and got to work, it was my arm was red. Now again, it wasn't itching, it wasn't burning, it was just turning red. Like the irritation was super alive. Went to my primary again, and then they prescribed me antibiotics. And I believe it was a 7-day prescription for antibiotics. And this was on maybe like a Wednesday after I got back from my trip, or a week later after I got back from my trip. So it was like a Wednesday or Thursday, and I started taking antibiotics right away. And it was the third day of that antibiotic treatment, and I got on Reddit, and it said that if antibiotics don't work, so I read that there was this guy that got a tattoo, and he took antibiotics. He was taking antibiotics, and after 3 days of no changes whatsoever, he decided to go to the hospital because usually antibiotics take, they act pretty quickly. And I thought about that, and it was a Saturday, and I did not sleep at all that Friday night. Like I went to sleep like at 5 p.m. and then woke up at 11 p.m. and then I didn't sleep all night. So then I went to the gym. I was like, well, I'm already up. Let me go to the gym. It was 6 a.m. I'm at the parking lot of the gym. The gym's still closed. I read that on Reddit, and I was like, man, I'm just going to drive to the hospital. So I drove myself to the hospital, got checked in, and they prescribed me another antibiotic, but this one for 10 days. So now I'm taking two antibiotics one for 7 days and another one for 10 days. When that was finished, it actually helped a 10%, a little bit more than the second round of steroids. So by this time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like 2 rounds of steroids, 2 rounds, 2 different antibiotics. Like what's going on? So I went back to my primary. So I went back to my primary, and she pretty much said, "Okay, I'm just gonna give you a note. You need to check yourself into the hospital, and with this note, you'll probably be able to see infectious disease because you'll probably need some sort of IV antibiotics because this is not your regular bacteria. Because with the medication and the steroids that we gave you, this should have been taken care of." So I go to the hospital again, and now I'm in the hospital for a week. They're doing biopsies, they're cutting chunks of the brand new tattoo that I just had, and they are, taking blood regularly. They put me on 4 different antibiotics, but then again, they don't even know what's going on. Like they don't know what I have. They just start pumping me with different antibiotics, like pretty strong antibiotics. And again, by the end of that 1 week, barely any changes. By the end and also by the end of that week, they come to me and say, "Well, we don't know what it is because it's a slow growing bacteria." They were about 100%. They were about 90% sure that it was a type of mycobacterium, and a mycobacterium is like, according to them, is like a distant cousin of tuberculosis, but it's not as deadly as tuberculosis. But there's different types of mycobacterium, so they needed to know specifically which type of mycobacterium it is, so they can then assign the correct dosage and treatment as far as antibiotics. Because usually for a mycobacterium, it's not just one antibiotic. You need to give the person 3 or 4 different types of antibiotic in order to kind of resolve the issue. And it's not going to be in a week. It's going to take months, maximum a year. That's what I was told. So by the end of the first week, they come to me and say, "We don't know which type it is. We're waiting for the biopsy to return the results." Now it is a slow growing bacteria, so they don't know exactly how much time. So I leave the hospital. Mind you, I have a trip. I have my yearly vacation to go to Puerto Rico the Friday after I left the hospital. So like I left on Monday, and in 4 days I gotta go to Puerto Rico. And they call me on Wednesday and they say, "Well, we know what it is, and can you come to the hospital to start your treatment?" And by this time, I already, by this time, I've already started doing some natural type of stuff. So like organic aloe leaf, started putting that 2-3 times a day. Some coworker of mine said that to use white freshwater pearl powder with organic coconut oil, and started rubbing it in my arm. And honestly, I used I think it was 30% vinegar. I was putting 30% vinegar twice a day. And I'm gonna tell you one thing, that the normal, like the natural organic treatment that I was doing made my arm feel and look 10 times better than any of those antibiotics. So by the time that my trip came, my arm actually looked pretty good. So when they asked me, to come in, I said, "Listen, can I, now that you know what it is Is it deadly? No. Okay. Can sunlight touch the arm? Yeah, no problem. Can I get in the water? Sure, no problem. Can I drink? Yeah, I don't think I see the problem. Okay, well, I'll see you next week. So I packed my bags and I went to Puerto Rico for a week. And when I got back, that's when I started the treatment. And I can honestly say that week that I took off, my tattoo felt 10 times better. I didn't put no sunscreen on my arm. I put that organic oil, coconut oil. Um, I kept using those natural treatment stuff, aloe and organic aloe and all that good stuff. And my arm looked 10 times better. And by the time I came back and I had to go see the doctor before I went to the hospital, they were like, they asked me, what are you doing? I said, well, I've been doing this. Obviously, they told me to stop. Well, it's like this, that's my biggest problem with medicine, but I'm not going to go into that topic right now. So went into the hospital, started the treatment because they needed to get the correct dosage, um, because it's a very strong antibiotic. And once I stayed there for another week, got the correct dosage, left, and then I had to administer the IV antibiotic myself. And a doctor came home and we went through all that process. And I did that IV treatment for about a week and a half, and then I started to notice in some of the severe symptoms. So then they cut it off, and right now I'm just taking 2 pill form antibiotics. And now don't stop taking those pills until probably March. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now with that. But once once all that happened, you start noticing, okay, like what happened, right? It couldn't be the artist because I noticed that everything was clean. It couldn't be the ink because it was literally here, here, and here, and there was nothing on this side or on this side of it or the shoulder. And also, my wife got a tattoo from the same guy 2 days later, and she didn't get nothing. Not only that, but my niece got a tattoo from the same guy 2 days after that, and she didn't get anything. So the only thing that I can think of that could have happened was the fact that those first 2 days, that humidity and that heat and all that sweating and kind of contaminated the space. So that is my advice to you. If you're planning to get a tattoo, I know that prices here in the States are completely out of control. And some of them are great artists and they probably deserve that type of money. But sometimes um, we're unable to pay those fees, and you want something, so you look at alternatives. Now, Dominican Republic has great artists. This guy's still a great artist to me. He'll probably continue to do work for me just because I know that it wasn't something that he did on purpose, like with like the tools that he was using. Like it wasn't like a dirty tool or anything like that. It was literally just a learning lesson of, listen, schedule it better so that way we're not rushed into continuing when circumstances change. So, just know, I hope that this story kind of helps people out there that are trying to get a tattoo. Always be diligent when it comes to um, what where the tattoo is being done. Is it a place that's clean? The reputation of the artist. Look at the tools that he's using. Look at if he's changing needles and stuff. Um, and yeah, like my main advice to you guys is just be diligent. And if you really want something, really, really, especially something that stays in your body for life, just take the time to um, do it right the first time and don't rush the process. I feel like that's the number one mistake that I made during this process was that. And thank God that now everything is healed up. I can actually enjoy the piece of art. And I'm really glad that I didn't have to lose my arm. So, like always, guys, if you find the story entertaining or you learn something, please hit like, comment. If you ever had a infection on one of your tattoos, so please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you want to continue this journey with me. Again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Have a blessed day. Thank you guys.